Hey guys, it's me and welcome back to another video. I'm so excited to finally bring this video out for you guys. It's going to be a full year review of my first year of graduate school in the speech language pathology program. Now, if you've been following my journey and watching my videos so far, you've probably seen me talk about graduate school in a few of my videos, and now that I'm officially done with the whole year, I'm excited to discuss my experience in full. I'm going to break up this video into different categories, so depending on which one that you'd like to hear, you can just click on the timestamp in the description below, and it'll just navigate you to the topic that you want to hear about. And I don't want to ramble for too long because I feel like I'm going to be talking for a while for each category, so let's get straight into it. Okay, so to start off my review, I wanted to discuss my classes first. So I'm going to tell you guys about my classes and my class schedule and just how I felt overall in the year with these classes. So my first semester of graduate school, I had classes on Tuesday and Thursday and clinic on Monday and Wednesday. And the classes I had on Tuesday were language development for birth to preschool, and then we also had our dysphagia class after that. And then Thursday we had a clinic class, and we also had speech sound disorders. So for my second semester, this all switched up and I was in a different cohort. So my classes were then on Monday and Wednesday, and my clinic was on Tuesday and Thursday. So the classes we had our second semester was acquired neurogenic disorder, part 1, and we have a part 2 of that, I think, next fall. And then we had a research class, which was only 1 credit, thankfully, so that one was done pretty early. We also had the clinic class once again, and then we had our autism spectrum disorder class. I will say my first semester, my 2 least favorite classes had to be speech sound disorders and dysphagia. Typically because those professors gave us so much work to do that it was honestly just overwhelming at that point, and it was just a very bad combination of both of these classes together. I don't really like the topic of dysphagia. That was just never an interest for me, so that's why I didn't really like that class. And my speech sound disorders, you know, I've always been a fan of speech sound disorders, but my professor just, I feel like, overwhelmed us with information. And some of the times with the information she gave us, she wouldn't tell us if that treatment or therapy approach was correct. She would tell us that she didn't like it, or maybe she did like it, but the research wasn't fully there. So half the times when we were learning this information, it was just not a confirmed answer, and I honestly felt confused. And after that class, I just feel way more confused about phonological disorders in general, and I feel like I need to take another class with a different professor to figure this all out, because I just felt like I really did not understand half the stuff that we were learning in that class. With that, I loved all my other classes for my first semester, and in my second semester, I really hated acquired neurogenic disorders. With that, I believe each semester was completely different regarding my class course load. You know, I've mentioned this before, but my first semester was extremely challenging. We had so many assignments and exams due around the same time, and it was just very hard to manage on top of having clinic for the first time too. My first semester, I genuinely did not stop working on assignments or studying. I would wake up early, I would stay up late, and that time was spent working on my schoolwork and clinic, and it was just intense. I was breaking out in stress hives, and I just had stress migraines. I really didn't see my friends that often. I wasn't working out that much. I just felt like I put so much of myself into my work that it took away so much of me mentally and physically. Now my second semester was way better than that. Like I said, the 1 credit class ended early, so that one was out of our course load, and the work that we were given was also spread out, and we only had 2 exams in my acquired neurogenic disorder class. My other professors asked us before the semester started, you know, what can we do to help you? And I think we all collectively agreed that exams were just not helpful during online learning at all. They decided to test us and see where our knowledge was in other ways, like our CASET projects and case studies instead. Overall, I will say my first year kind of felt similar to my undergraduate studies. It was just different in the way that questions in our discussions were very application-based, and we really needed to show that we knew the research around our topics and the current EBP for it. It was like undergrad, but just like bumped up a notch. Also, of course, we had to manage client schedules and, other course load at the same time. So of course that made my first year way more difficult too. Okay, so now I'm gonna talk about my clinic experience for the first year, and each semester was different in the clients that I had and my client schedules. So my first semester, like I said before, I had clients on Monday and Wednesday. My first semester, I had a little girl with language disorders and she was telehealth. I had a little boy that had a stutter. I had an older boy that had a stroke, and I had my diagnostic team, and that one was about 3 hours long. And then my second semester, like I said, I had a clinic on Tuesday and Thursday, which I honestly liked so much better, but I had a older girl who was bilingual and she had Down syndrome. I also had a little boy that had autism. Then I had a younger girl that had autism as well. So I only had 3 clients pretty much my second semester, but we did meet twice a week, whereas my clients in the first semester, it was pretty much once a week. Now, I loved having my client sessions. All the clients that I had, I absolutely adored. They were very sweet, and I just enjoyed getting to hang out with them for that time. I will say that it was extremely scary being thrown into hands-on experience with clients. I just felt very unsure about everything the whole year, especially since we would have new clients each semester, and each time we would switch, I just had to go in with new experience each time. I really relied on my supervisors for assistance, but I tried to fade out their assistance as much as possible as the sessions went on. In a way, I felt like my classes did not help me with my client sessions, maybe because my specific class that I needed for my client was in a different semester, or we just weren't talking about treatment approaches or therapy in our classes to help me with my clients. So with that, I essentially made session plans and just hoped that they would work. Thankfully, I had partners for all of my clients, and that was extremely helpful because we each had different experiences we could bring to our session. One of my second semester partners had a lot of experience with kids with autism and kids in general just from her first semester and in undergrad. And she was such a great model for me during our sessions, and it just helped me so much to see how she would go through things and see how she adapted with each situation. And it was just very helpful for me to see that. She was kind of like my model the whole time, just because our supervisor really wasn't coming in and watching the session. A lot of times she was either watching from an intercom and would say something small right after, or she just, wouldn't talk to us after. So it just felt like I was relying a lot on intuition and what my partner felt like was best. I'll say I liked all of my supervisors. They were extremely helpful, but there were times where, I did not like their critiques because they would not listen to me or hear me out on why I did certain things, or I just felt like they were not supporting me in the best way. If you saw my video of my day during clinic in my first semester, I talked about this a lot, but for my diagnostic session, which was 3 hours long, my supervisor never checked off my plan. She never told me that it was correct, and she also didn't come in for the session. So that was just a lot, and it really made me stressed and freaked out because I generally didn't know what I was doing. This is my first time doing an evaluation, so clearly it was just a lot thrown at me at one time, especially because everyone else in my group was able to talk with her for a long time and figure out the plan one-on-one, where I felt like I was not given that support in any way. Now, I had the same supervisor my second semester, and although she was very sweet and helpful in different ways, especially with soap writing and documentation, she was very good at editing, but she was just giving me and my partner such contradicting information that by the end of the semester, we were generally unsure where we were going, because she would just bring up things and say, why are we doing this? When the week before that, she would specifically tell us to do that. So that one was just annoying and hard to figure out. Regarding documentation, we wrote a lot for having our course load and classes on the side. We did SOAPs each session, and we wrote progress reports. We had letters for parents, treatment plans, and we had our goal and summary forms. For diagnostic, you'd have to write a full diagnostic evaluation and report. My report was probably 10 pages long because we had so many topics that we were covering during the evaluation. I am still getting the hang of using the correct writing formats for each document, just because it needs to be concise and detailed, and it needs to fully and specifically show what we are doing in our sessions, which at times I felt like it was hard for me to figure out the best word to describe why we were doing what or what we were doing. And also it was hard to figure out when we needed to use parent-friendly terms and definitions, and when the documents were only going to another speech pathologist. Apart from that, there's also an aspect where you have to talk with the parents and have family meetings and talk about the progress for the client. And that one was honestly very scary for me because I feel like I'm still not sure how to talk to parents fully. I still feel like a child in a way. I don't feel like an adult. So I just feel less than every time I talk with an adult or a parent, and it's just hard for me to feel confident and describe things confidently for them to understand. I feel like I just need to keep experiencing this, and I just feel like if I didn't look like a 12-year-old, I'd feel more confident, but right now I just don't. The next thing I'm going to talk about is stress level and mental health, because I feel like this is an important topic to talk about within graduate school, and I know I briefly mentioned some things, but I just want to go ahead and talk about this briefly because this is something important to touch on. So as we know, graduate school is of course going to be stressful. It's going to be a lot. I just want to say that when you go into it, you really need to have a plan for your mental health and how you're doing physically, mentally, emotionally, and you need to figure out how to manage your stress because it's going to be a lot, and at times you're just not going to feel good about yourself or whatever you're doing. You're not going to feel motivated, or you're not going to feel passionate about something because of this. And I know I've talked about this in other videos where I'm like, you need to work on your mental health. That's important, that's key, and if you don't have the mental health, you're not going to be able to do well. So I'm telling you now, you need to make a plan for managing your stress and what you need to do if you feel overwhelmed. So like I said, my first semester was very, very stressful. We had a lot. It was a lot of information to take in from clinic, from classes, you know, orientations. We had so many orientations. There's so much information you have to learn, and it was very stressful. Like I said, I had hives. I honestly felt like I didn't sleep. I woke up early, I stayed up late, and you know what, I generally did not feel good about myself. I wasn't working out. Like I said, I wasn't even able to watch YouTube or watch Netflix. I just didn't have any breaks, and that was a lot, and it took a toll on me, like I said before. By the time I got to my winter break, I had been so overworked that whole semester that I genuinely felt like I had blacked out that entire time. It was so much. Of course, there were other factors too that upped my stress. It was a pandemic. I had also just gone through a breakup during that whole time. I was living back with my family, which, you know, is a lot to adjust to again. And I was sitting hunched over on my laptop for so long during the day that I just, you know, it was not a good time. And like I said before, the second semester felt like a complete breeze. I felt like I could go out on the weekend. I felt like I could do things. I felt great, you know, planning with my friends to do things. I just felt so much better. And I also had more time for myself because my professors try to do asynchronous classes. We also had the research class, you know, done with early. And I know, like I said, each semester is going to be different. Next fall, I'm probably going to be extremely dead again just because we technically will have a full-time job, and, you know, we're going to be working on classes on the weekend. I feel like it's a constant battle of, you know, feeling good and then not feeling good and then just going back and forth, you know. You just need to figure out how to manage it. Okay, so the next category I wanted to talk about was social life and my work life. So you might know from my other videos, but I only work on the weekends. I don't like to put my work life during my school life. I don't like that mixing at all. So I keep it on the weekends, and I work part-time at Chipotle. So that's also another stress factor. Oh my god, Chipotle is so stressful. But besides that, my first semester, I honestly almost quit halfway through the semester just because I felt like I needed the weekends to do my assignments, and that was part of the reason why I was waking up so early and staying up so late during the week and before work, because I had this whole portion of my day gone for assignments and work just so I could go into Chipotle and make some money. And that was just stressful for me because I felt like I saw other people in my cohort doing a lot better because they did have weekends, and I just felt very overwhelmed, and that's why I almost quit first semester. But I kept pushing on because I really need to save up and I really need to figure myself out financially, so that was my motivation to keep going. My second semester, I felt completely okay working on the weekend. I also tried to see people after work, and that was very good for me. So like I said, each semester was different, depending on the time. I will say at the end of the summer, I am officially quitting, and I'm very excited, but I'm officially quitting because we will need the weekends for sure to focus on work because we will be so busy on the week. So that's why I'm going to be quitting, and hopefully I'm just going to be, I don't know, dog walking on the side and getting some cash any way possible. Now my social life is going to be similar with the semesters. First semester, I didn't have any social life at all. My cohort never planned anything. It was too stressful. We had too much to do. I never really saw my friends. My other friend was in her audiology program and we had alternate schedules. I just really did not see my friends at all for the longest time, and that was really hard for me. But my second semester, it all went away and I probably saw everybody every other weekend, and that was very nice. We would all hang out, just have a drink. So I'll say, like before, it depended on the stress levels, it depended on my course load, and I will say I'm assuming next year when I have my off-campus placements, it's gonna be stressful again, and I probably will not have a social life. Okay, so those were all the categories I thought I could break the year into. And of course, if you have a topic that you really want to know about, or just a question about my year in general, you can ask it in the comments, and of course I will answer your question the best way possible. I am here and I want to be like a second mentor to you guys. I just want to provide as much information as I can for when you guys potentially go into graduate school, or you know, if you are just thinking about this career in general. With that, I would definitely say to search up other videos about this topic, because my experience, like I've said before in other videos, is catered to my specific school, my specific major, and you know, where I am in life. You know, there's some people that work way more days than I do, and they probably have different experiences as me, or some people have different clients or supervisors. So this is all very much my experience. I encourage you to look at other videos from other people, and I will try to link as many videos as I can below as well, just to help with that research if you guys want to hear more. But yeah, that's my first year of graduate school experience. My first year is done. My summer semester is coming up next week, and I am going to be buying Praxis books and studying for the Praxis soon, so that's going to be taking up my life. But yeah, I am very excited that I can keep making videos about my journey, and I'm just very excited that you guys are here to watch. Thank you so much for supporting me in any way that you guys can. It just means the world to see you guys comment and reach out to me. I just love it so much. So keep doing that. Keep asking any questions you want. Keep telling me about your stories and your experiences. I literally love hearing them. If you have any more topics or questions for me that you want me to elaborate on, just put it below. Like I said, I'll answer it for you. But for now, I will see you guys for the next video.